Well, hello and welcome to yet another one of my videos about my journey with breast implant illness as I prepare for my explant, which is now 5 weeks from Friday. So I'm getting there. Not quite soon enough, but getting there and feeling grateful that it's getting a little bit closer. So I just wanted to share today about what I'm doing to prepare for surgery and recovery, sort of mentally and spiritually. I talked a lot in my last video about what I'm doing nutritionally and with exercise and supplements, which has been really, really helpful. I am feeling like that is benefiting me. I'm feeling stronger and healthier. But I believe that the mental aspect for me is actually even more important, or at least as important, but even a little bit more important for me. And so I'd like to talk about that. And I guess first, just give you a little bit of my history of why that is such an important component of this process for me. I shared with you in my original video that talked about my journey and my challenges with my health over the last 20 years that 3 months after I got implants, I had a case of optic neuritis where I lost vision completely in one eye and was told that that was likely the onset of multiple sclerosis. And while I wasn't definitively able to be diagnosed for another 3 years, it was strongly being suggested to me that that was what my path was going to be. So I started experiencing rather debilitating anxiety. I had these two very young children, a husband who traveled all the time, and all I knew about multiple sclerosis at the time was a good friend of mine from high school's mother had had it, and I had watched her deteriorate and decline rapidly and be confined to a wheelchair and assisted living. And so that was all I could kind of think of. Or a few celebrities I knew had had it who had also deteriorated really rapidly. So I was very anxious, and I knew that that was not helping my healing. So it's a long story that I'll try to make short. But I had the fortune of taking John Kabat-Zinn's 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program through an incredible woman, my yoga teacher at the time, Joy Abrams. Joy, if you're listening, was life-changing for me, as you know. And so it really was life-changing for me. And all I was doing was setting my alarm 30 minutes before my kids would wake up and getting out of bed and going to meditate. And I say now I'm trying to be a recovering perfectionist. At the time, I was kind of a perfectionist. So it served me well in the sense that the course asked you to commit to meditating every day for 8 weeks. So if I said I'm going to meditate every day for 8 weeks, I meditated every day for 8 weeks and I did not miss a day. And it changed my life. And I could do a whole video, and maybe one day will, about that. But it's enough to say that. And then I had the fortune of working with her as an assistant. So I got to witness, again, not only the benefits in my own life, but how it was helping countless others. I never saw someone go through the program and not walk away with life-changing benefits. So eventually I became really passionate about wanting to help others learn this, because I continued, I never stopped. And at the time, my health wasn't improving, but how I was able to be in relationship to it was dramatically different. And I truly believe that I have done as well as I have done in the past 20 years, despite all of the medical challenges I've had, and there have been many, because of my mindfulness practice, because of how it has allowed me to sort of train my brain to be in the present, to focus on positive things. The brain, if left to its own, naturally focuses on negative things. And I like to use an example, like if you have 10 conversations with someone in a day, and 9 of them are positive, but one of them is kind of gnarly. You have an argument, you get into bed. What's the one you're probably going to think about? It's usually the details of the argument. It's evolutionarily, our brains are designed that way. It's called negativity bias. And at the beginning of time, it served a purpose because it was for our survival. We needed to be on alert for threats, but now it doesn't really serve us very well. But the beautiful thing is, there's another term, neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change. We can change that, and we change it through a consistent meditation practice, living mindfully, training the brain to come back into the present, to not be worrying about the future, or not be lost in thought about the past, regretting, controlling, all the things we as humans do that interfere with our ability to be at peace. And what I have learned in all of my years of mindfulness and teaching it, I eventually became a teacher, and I teach different series. I've worked at different step meditation centers. I go to corporations and teach meditation to employees. I work privately one-on-one. But what I've learned is that if we can put the welcome mat to whatever is there in our moment, whatever's there to be felt, whatever stress, chaos, storms, crises are happening, and just allow it to be without having to do anything about it, without having to change it, without having to fix it, without pushing it away, without grasping and clinging to it. I'm smiling because sometimes that's a challenge of mine with some anxious attachment stuff. But if we can let go of that and just allow it to be there with sort of an open curiosity and a willingness to just let it be, it's amazing how even in the face of real suffering or real challenges, we can be at peace. It's often what we do to avoid the discomfort of whatever that moment might be by trying to make it go away, trying to deny it, push it away, or attaching to it, that causes even more suffering. So taking all of that, I'm just sort of giving you my whole little mindfulness spiel, and applying it to where I'm at now with this surgery. I have health-related anxiety. Not surprising given my past and my history with health challenges. And my health challenges have been quite bizarre. I can wake up one morning and the tip of my thumb could be numb, and then within 48 hours, the entire right side of my body is. I've had times where I wake up and my eyeballs just hurt, and within a few days I can't see. So that makes me anxious when I'm very sensitive to things in my body not feeling right, and I have quite a few conditions that cause my body to not feel right. So I've really used mindfulness to help me try to stay at peace. And I believe that's why I've done as well as I have done over the years with my health. And I'm so grateful for that. So I'm definitely using it now to help me, because I also have anxiety about surgery. I had some complications when I had my hysterectomy. And so that sort of trauma from that surgery is in my head, in my brain. And so I'm working with that. I want to release that. I want to let that go. So I want to share a few resources with you. The most important one is, and I'm so grateful to my sweet friend Caroline, you know who you are, for sharing this with me. She had some surgery of her own not long ago, and someone had shared it with her, and she had found it so helpful. She shared it with me. There is a book called Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster, a guide of mind-body techniques by Peggy Huddleston. I'm still waiting for my actual book to arrive from Amazon, but there's been some delay in shipping. But fortunately, I've gotten most all of the highlighted information from my friend. And so as you can see, much like I showed you my lovely book about nutrition and exercise, I have all of this wonderful information from Peggy Huddleston's book. And I want to share a little bit of that with you, and a couple of other things that I think are really helping me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to sip on my post-exercise protein drink while I do, because I did just exercise and I want to get that down. So excuse me. Okay. So one of the things Peggy talks about in this book is 5 steps for peaceful surgery. The first is relax and feel peaceful. So doing that. Do anxiety meditations twice a day. She offers her own, which I'm using sometimes, and also yoga nidra, which I love, both of which I'm doing at least twice a day. And just for any of you that are listening who might be scheduling surgery, about to go through surgery, or know of someone, I will also share that there's so many great apps. I use Insight Timer, but Headspace is another good one. And you can just plug in like Insight Timer every morning I go to, and in the search bar, I'll plug in whatever might be causing me some anxiety or whatever's on my mind that I want to bring healing to, and it will bring up choices of meditations. And so I'll listen to those. That I find is a really nice tool. So the second is to visualize a positive outcome. You know, what we think about matters. And as I talked about earlier, the brain naturally thinks about negative things. So she talks about how to visualize your ideal outcome, both the short term and the long term. So I've really been giving a lot of thought, putting that in writing, like, how am I visualizing this surgery, the best possible outcome, like detailed, no nausea from anesthesia, all these different things. Wayne Dwyer has a quote, what we think about, we bring about. And I share with my clients regularly, what we think about really matters, what we tell ourselves. And so I take that very seriously. So I'm really working at visualizing how I want this to go, how I want my recovery to go. I'm visualizing myself walking out of the surgical center and how good I'll feel, what I'll eat when I get home. What I'm going to wear there, because how I want to feel going in, just every detail. And I think that's really important. Create a support group. She says, seek people to send you love, prayers, healing energies, and thoughts, especially during the time right before your surgery begins. And I'm adding, and throughout, I'm going to give my support group the time of my surgery. And I'm actually going to ask them specifically what I'd like them to be thinking and praying. This friend that gave me the program did that. She kind of did a text to all of her support group and said, please, during these hours, these are the thoughts I want you to have. And I appreciated that so much because I was on it. I knew exactly what to be focusing on for her. So I'm going to do that for my support group. I don't want to leave it up to chance at what they think I want. I'm going to be very specific. Think of yourself surrounded in a blanket of love and prayers to give you more peace. And the people that have used her program say that they're so surprised, and many of them went in for much more serious surgeries than mine, open heart surgery, cancer surgeries, and they said they were amazed at how at peace they were. And I believe that is because they are feeling energetically those people they've asked to, lifting them up in love and prayers and positive thoughts and support. So my people, you'll know who you are. You'll be hearing from me. And then she says, your support group should also visualize your positive results so they're not surrounding you with any of their fears and worries. Obviously, I understand some people in my life will be worried about me going into surgery. It's a normal thing to be concerned about people you love going in for surgery, but I'm going to ask them to please put their worries in a container locked in another room and really replace them. That's why I'm actually going to give them written copy of what I want them thinking about, so they don't worry, because I don't want any of that negativity brought to me. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm trying to make this video quickly before I have to run out. Use healing statements. She talks about that the research shows that we can still hear under anesthesia, and that we're actually very receptive to the messages we're hearing. So positive healing statements can be most receptive during that time that you're under anesthesia. So she suggests, and I've gone so far as to write out affirmations that I'm going to ask the anesthesiologist to read during my recovery, some of which are saying, you are doing great, everything is going smoothly, you will heal without complications, like everything I want. And I know this is powerful. I use this when I go in for MRIs, my brain MRIs. I can tend to get claustrophobic and anxious. So I say to the technician, hey, during this, I need you to talk to me. I'm very direct. I say, I need you to tell me I'm doing a great job. Tell me, this one's only 9 minutes, but everything's going great. And it relaxes me. So the studies show that the brain works the same way even when you're under anesthesia. So meet your anesthesiologist. So I will probably, with most surgeries, you meet the anesthesiologist not long before the surgery. So I am going to talk to my surgeon at the post-op and just clear it with them, saying, hey, is your anesthesiologist going to be okay with this? Because I want to know that he or she will be okay with it. I'm quite certain they will be. But this Peggy Huddleston is a surgeon herself, I believe, or a doctor, I forget. And she goes around to hospitals teaching this program to doctors and nurses, and they love it because they see the difference in the patients. Patients get discharged earlier, they do better, they're up and about faster. It's remarkable. So that is a wonderful resource I wanted to share with you that was new to me. So thank you, Caroline. There is a website, healfaster.com. And in truth be told, I haven't quite gone there yet, but it's on my list to go to. That's through that. So that is one main thing I wanted to share. The other thing I'm doing to help with my own anxiety is I'm keeping this list. Every time something pops into my head, a question about the surgery or the recovery, I write it down so that when I go to my pre-op appointment, I will have it and I won't worry, am I going to forget something? Because sometimes we get nervous when we go to these doctor's appointments and we forget. So I just keep that list and I'm like, you don't have to worry, you're not going to forget anything. And I will assert myself and ask all of these questions. The last thing I wanted to share after I take one more sip of my drink, I apologize, I probably should have waited to do this video until later today, but I wanted to get it done, is this book, Self-Love, a workbook for women. Release self-doubt, build self-compassion, and embrace who you are. You know, I've shared, obviously, the main reason I'm going through this surgery and on this journey is for my physical health. I truly believe that I have breast implant illness and that my breast implants have been a major contributing factor to all of my autoimmune conditions and all of my health challenges. And I truly believe that by removing them, I will experience health improvements. As I said, no expectations, but tremendous hope. Don't know the level to how much, but I just believe I will feel better in ways, many ways. That's one part. The other part is embracing who I am. I've shared with you that there's a part of me that feels so tender and sad for that 30-year-old that felt she needed to do this, that did this surgery even though she didn't really want to do it, but wasn't secure enough with who I was to not do it. And I don't know if that makes sense to any of you, some of you, but the other huge part of this journey for me is about that. It is about, at 54 years old, finally embracing my body and loving my body and appreciating my body exactly as it is. Like I said, laying the welcome mat out to whatever is there to be felt, and laying the welcome mat out to what my body is, exactly as it was made. And so however I look after, because I realize I'm not going to just go back to what I was, 20 years ago. So it'll be sort of probably a more deformed version of that. But regardless, like really being, I'm really working towards and so grateful I can feel myself getting towards this place at finally being comfortable with who I am and knowing it has nothing to do with my appearance. And as we age, our appearances change, so it's kind of embracing it all and learning to really love myself and know that I'm enough and know that I matter without needing to get external validation from anyone. And so a client actually shared this with me. She was working with it and I thought, oh, let me check that out. And it's a beautiful book by Logan. And it's just kind of a workbook form thing with exercises and questions. So I'm working on that too, because I really want to use this journey to also really help me get to a place that I've not been ever truly able to get to. And then go out into the world. Like I plan to be an advocate when this is over. I'm sort of being a mini advocate now, but when I experience healing, I kind of feel like saying, look out. Like now we're going on to TED Talks, and I'm going to try to get my story out there to really help women recognize that they are beautiful exactly as they are, and that the size of our chest doesn't matter. And I hesitate saying that because I don't want to have this offend women that wanted larger breasts, got implants, and then love them. That I'm happy for you, because you're embracing who you are with your implants and you love that and you're comfortable with that, and that's beautiful. I'm talking more for people that might be like me, who weren't comfortable without implants and weren't comfortable with the implants. So it's like, okay, I thought not having a chest was the problem, but then I got a chest and I still wasn't okay. So that wasn't the problem. That lets me know it's an internal thing. And for me, it's about this. It's about learning to just love myself and know what my worth is, what my values are, and what makes me special, and realizing it's not the size happy. It's not my size of anything. It's who I am inside. But that has been a challenge for me in a way that I'm actually really quite grateful that this journey is helping me finally overcome. And I'm excited to be gentler on this body and appreciate this body more than I have in its 54 years, in whatever time I have left. So that said, I think that covers what I wanted to cover today. And I'm not sure what else I'll need. I would imagine maybe my next video might be as I get closer to surgery, talking about my anxiety and my jitters and my nerves, or maybe after my post-op, any information I get there. But as always, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. If you want to share this, please do. By people sharing this video, I have actually heard from people who had never heard of this. People have reached out to Christina Rowland, the Size Happy Challenge woman I mentioned, on their own, saying they saw my video and they have breast implants and they're concerned that's causing their illness. So it works if we spread it. So feel free to share it with anybody that you know who might benefit, because that's my purpose in doing these videos, is to help anyone who hears them who might have implants and be concerned about them, and also to try to raise awareness for people out there who were like me, where over a month ago I had never heard of it and I was not connecting the dots the way I am now. And so I'm so grateful that I heard about it. So if I can be the way one person finds out about it that helps them the way it's helped me, then that's why I'm doing this. So with that, thank you and be well. Okay, bye.